Maniona kushiba matikuora. Kundiwona kushiba matikuora imi. Vaniwona kushiba vatikuora. Kundiwona kushiba hunzikuora. Ndafunga dande, kufunga dande. Ndasua dande, kutoka dande. Ndafunga dande vakomana ndafunga kwedu. Kufunga dande vakomana ndafunga kwedu. Ndafunga dande vakomana ndafunga kwedu. Kutoka dande varume ndafunga kwedu. Nafunga dande Samura kamirira iwe toka yemwe Kufunga dande Kukurumura kwanda kaita koleria Nafunga dande Wakasira tipapo toka yemwe Nafunga dande Kukurumura kwanda kaita Nafunga dande wakomana nafunga kwedu Toka Kufunga dande warume nafunga kwedu Toka yemwe Nafunga dande wakomana nafunga kwedu Toka kufunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu. Maniona kushiba matikuona. Kundiwona kushiba kutikuora. Maniona kushiba matikuora. Kundiwona kushiba hunzikuora. Nafunga dande, kutoka dande. Nafunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu. Nafunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu. Nafunga dande vakomana ndafunga kwedu. Kutoka dande varume ndafunga kwedu. Uyesha kukutila kuwe soka. Kufunga dande Samura kamirira iwe soka yemwe Nafunga dande Kukurumura kwanda kaita koleria Nafunga dande Wakasira tipapo toka yemwe Nafunga dande Kukurumura kwanda kaita Nafunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu Toka Kufunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu Toka yemwe Nafunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu 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 Nafunga dande varume ndafunga kwedu. Thanks, Mom!
12 weeks. Wow. 12 weeks and a journey of being grounded, started in isolation, and now we're here. Can you imagine?
I don't know what it is, but singing in your mother tongue is just spiritual. Like, sometimes you can say stuff in Shona, but you can say it in English, but it doesn't mean anything until you take it back home. And that's essentially what that song was saying. Under the umbrella of what we've been going through with like being stuck at home, unable to move with this whole quarantine situation, and then to the additional oppression of like what we've been reminded through the whole Black Lives Matter at the moment, this song felt really important. It's basically saying, I'm thinking of home. I want to go home. And really, what does that mean right now? And especially for us in the diaspora, we're born here, but really, do we belong? When we're reminded again and again that maybe our lives don't matter here. What do you think, guys?
I think it's such a point in time in the world right now with everything that's been going. Of course, a lot of you are in the midst of, in the backdrop of lockdown and Corona. We're in the midst of this Black Lives Matter movement, and for a lot of people, it's been a wake-up call. Their eyes have been opened. There's a veil that's been lifted. It's almost like this year, 2020, has been very unprecedented and unexpected, to say the least. But what this 2020 could have really meant for a lot of us is that 2020 vision we're hoping for is really 2020 vision of looking at the past and really understanding the mistakes and the trauma that's been the experience of a lot of people. So we need to, of course, take everything that's been done, everything that's been experienced as a way to kind of figure out how to really move forward. And I think to go on what you were saying with the diaspora, this is nothing new.
Yeah.
George Floyd, what happened to George Floyd is so upsetting, and it's been a trigger and a wake-up call to the rest of the world, but it's nothing new for the diaspora. This has been a continued experience. But what I'm thankful for is with these protests, with a lot of people being active and with a lot of people really just taking the time to just open books and really see for themselves and see what their role has been in what's been going on. I think we're in the middle of experiencing a time in history right now where we've got so much of the world engaged in this experience. So I think that's something really positive to take away from what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I think it's been a really nice experience for the international Black people to come together and realise that there is a commonality and a bond that we share. And as Kwaiza said, it feels like for a long time, and hopefully it's the beginning of the end of that, there just has been this continual persecution towards people of colour. And by people of colour, what we really mean is people of African descent. Now, I know we all come from Africa, but there's a lot of people that don't very much feel connected to the culture, because a lot of the media that is perpetuated about Africa is usually very, very negative. And so what I like about Grounded and what I've loved about the last 12 weeks is that we have tried to find a way to turn a negative situation into something positive.
Amazing.
And we've made it our mission to make sure that every week we get together for a few days and we rehearse, try out songs that we don't usually sing in our set, or that that are going to teach us something more about the culture of music. And for me, that's what Grounded's been all about. It's about using your platform for the greater good in some way. And what I've learned from this week is that although Quay and I both had singles out, and I know that Chippa had an audition last week, we're still working through lockdown as artists, even though it's difficult to obviously be paid for what we're doing and to have certainty in our work. What we are realizing is that even though we've had releases this week, we've still used our platforms to try to sort of shed light on a situation, and that's actually a risk. A lot of artists in the Black community, especially, because I feel like a lot of white people tend to have the privilege to be able to make comments about things without, it sort of affecting their opportunities and careers. And in my career, I've definitely since my first record came out in 2007, I had a song on there called Iwe. And so even then I was sort of saying how I embrace both cultures. I embrace the UK culture and I embrace my Bantu culture. And I think the way that everybody has got behind what's going on, with African Americans, I just want to see more of that around the world. I want to see less fear of people using their platforms to call out injustice, because I know a lot of people feel like they've got obligations to brands, they've got obligations to record labels. Those record labels and brands are not being done any favours by you not being yourself and talking about your experiences as an artist, especially if you want to help brands and media companies. They have now said on Blackout Tuesday that they want to help. They want to be part of the movement to stop injustice.
Which in of itself is unprecedented, because we haven't experienced, or we don't even understand what it feels like to be supported in this way.
Yes.
It's a rarity. when someone who is not black or of colour will talk to me about what their experience is. And for the first time in my 30 years alive, white people have asked me about my experience, and it just seems so strange that that has been a rarity. But we're here for some music, and luckily and joyfully and excitingly, and I don't know what other kind of Lee word there is, Kwaiza has actually written a song that kind of encapsulates a lot of this kind of feeling. Brother, would you?
Yes.
Yes, I'd love to share a song that I wrote, which came on the wake of the morning of me finding out about what happened to George Floyd. So I was charged with all of that energy, and then it just really took me down a mental path of thinking about George and the men and women before him, the ancestors and the generations before him. And I'd like to share this song with you, and it's called Siren Songs, with a little help from my siblings over here.
All I want is to free sound in body and mind, in a place where brown bodies they find their head upon the concrete ground, no air to breathe. Whoa, I wear an iron smile
Chase the devil away, oh why?
as one more hit the ground.
He's back for another round.
Why, oh why? Siren songs are not for our kind. Oh why? Blue lights are colorblind. Oh why? Oh why? Siren songs are not for our kind. Oh why? Blue lights are colorblind. Oh why? All I want is to free my body from the prison in your mind. For only you seem to see my body
Sing it.
as a crime. Oh. I wear an iron smile.
Chase the devil away,
Whoa,
oh why?
as one more hit the ground.
He's back for another round.
Oh, why? Oh, why?
Why?
Siren songs are not for our kind. Oh, why?
Why?
Blue lights are colorblind. Oh, why? Oh, why? Siren songs are not for our kind. Oh, why? Blue lights are colorblind. Oh, why? Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yes.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my god. And that was written during lockdown as well.
That was in lockdown. That was in
Heavy
lockdown.
tune.
Oh, mom's loving it. Got mom's in the
I love your children. Oh my God. Thank you so much, children.
Firstborn Shingi, lastborn Kwaiza, and
Someone in the
Simpeleza
middle,
and
yeah.
Shipo. Oh, I'm so happy.
Oh, wow.
Happy, of course, I mean, you know, rest in perfect peace.
What do you think of the song, Mum?
It's a good song.
Good song.
I love that.
Very good.
Thank you. No, that one, I think it's funny, yeah, well, that morning that I found out about the news of George Floyd, I was actually coming out of my room and I saw Mum on the balcony upstairs and she was just saying, oh, how are you? And I was like, I just said I'm a bit uneasy because I found out a day late. I was working on, I believe it was a Wednesday. I was working on a Wednesday, so I think I was a day late to find out. So I was just in bed, like scrolling through, and then the wave of the news hit me, and it was the wake up call that we were talking about earlier. You know, like it's really powerful, and I just can't say enough how surreal it feels that the world is engaged in this. And I actually want to take it back to you guys. Of course, we postponed the show last week because the protests began in London, and it felt like the world was very engaged, and we wanted to make sure that all of our energies and efforts were to provide information and support as much as we can.